we have to remember we're not going to be saved. That's not the agenda. Trump's not going to save us. The ETs are not going to save us. Nobody's going to save us. This is a game that we're playing, and we are creating how it goes and how it plays out by our individual attitudes and frequency every day. That's coming back to Jonelle, saying how important it is that you keep your frequency high, because we are the creators of this world. On a moment by moment basis, we are presented with endless possibilities of what path we can go and how this is going to play out. We are the ones who create it. We have to recognize that those who are playing that role in our life, whether it's personal or on the higher level of political agenda in the outer world, big stage, they chose to play. Those are souls. They are part of us. And they chose to play that part in this world of duality because we needed to have the dark. We needed to have them here in order for us to experience that. And so we need to, in ourselves, deep within ourselves, find appreciation for that. Do you know how innocent you are? Do you know how you are loved? Do you know that you are a creature of God and that you are perfect and divine just as you are? I mean, because I was feeling all those things. And when you can do that, and it's spontaneous, that'll build within you. And you'll carry that, and you'll feel that way. And you won't ever want to judge anyone ever again. And that's when we're free. And Mallory?
Mallory, are you still there?
Yes, I am here. Hi, Sherry. I just want to tell you how beautiful I think that story about 7-Eleven was. I find that happening quite frequently in my life. And I have to tell you, in certain instances, I do choose to go and make a little comment to that person, and it just creates that oneness in my own experience that we all need, that tapping into the source on both of our parts. And that's just such a beautiful thought. I just wanted to thank you for that. I also wanted to thank you for when I ordered your book. You signed it. You left me a note. And it's just meant the world to me. Also want to thank you for responding to an email that I sent you in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. Just so thoughtful of you to do that. And so I just wanted to sort of preface everything that I was wanting to ask with those things. So my question is this, and I almost think that I maybe have gotten my answer during this session. I'm not an experiencer like you are. I'm an experiencer in the sense that I have seen things in the sky multiple times in my life. And during those times, it was as if I was the only one that recognized the remarkability of it. I would be with other people in these instances, and they would just act like, oh yeah, that's just a thing. And I was confounded. Why aren't they taking note of this? Why aren't they seeing this for what it is? And so it made me feel alone in that moment, but it also made me feel touched by something different. And that those things that I saw in those different instances were meant for me to, as a confirmation. But my lament in life is that I have received that information. I've received that confirmation. And as I've grown and as I've spent more time here on Gaia in this very dense dimensionality, I have become more certain that I do have cosmic minders. I don't have a relationship with whomever they are like you have had with Da. And this is one of the great frustrations in my life. And so I wanted to ask you, just based on your experiences, why might it be that although I beg and I plead and I cry out and I call out in all different ways that I can imagine for an answer, a response that's more substantive than just some sort of little numerical reminder or some sort of synchronicity, that I see in my experienced life. Why is it that I am not getting what I'm asking for from my minders? It would mean so much to me, and it would give me such a sense of peace. And it doesn't seem to be, in my opinion, something that would be too much to ask. In a sense, I feel like a diplomat that's been sent to a faraway post, but I've been given no resources to carry out my mission. And so I just become just furious sometimes, but more frustrated than anything. Why? And so more than anything, I wanted to just ask if you had if you had anything to say about that. And lastly, I just want to thank you again for signing my book. I want to thank you for writing the book. It's changed my life. It really, really opened up new avenues of thinking for me, and it really catalyzed my self-discovery. Thank you so much, Sherry. I'm going to conclude there.
Thank you, Mallory. I remember you. I remember. I'm surprised you could read my inscription in your book. My handwriting is so bad. It's so bad. I don't write the same way at all anymore. My hand is all shaky and weak. But I'm glad you appreciated it. Thank you. First of all, when you're out and you've seen the ships and others have been with you, they're not seeing the same thing you're seeing. They are not seeing the same thing, and they're not on the same level. So when you see a ship, a lot of times what that is not really a physical ship out in the sky flying by. What it is a something that's been projected into your mind, because your family, your cosmic family, it's just time for you to see it. You've decided you want to have the experience, and your higher self has said that it's okay and it's time and it's ready. So what they're seeing is not in alignment with probably what you were seeing. Otherwise, it's just their frequency, where they're at. If there is a physical ship really there, and they are seeing indeed the same thing you're seeing, they're not at the frequency where they can understand it. But I'm reminded of how it was, when the Pilgrims came over, when Christopher Columbus supposedly discovered America and all that stuff, that they have the story about how the Pilgrims who were there could not see the ships floating on the ocean. They weren't capable of understanding it, and so they didn't see them. And it took them a while to be able to have their brains compute what they were looking at. And that's true of a lot of us. I mean, I had that same thing in the abduction when I was 17. When I relived it, I remember looking through the windshield and seeing that face with the big eyes, but my mind kept trying to turn it into a human face. And so our brain does that to us because we're so programmed, and because of we're living in this matrix. So I just wanted to say that. As to why, I liked what you said. You feel like you were assigned to an outpost and you were there alone, and they didn't give you any provisions and no support. Well, that's welcome to my world kind of a thing. I feel the same way. That's why I fight with my guys. I challenge them a lot. I remind them very often that this is the hard part of this mission, and you guys got it good up there on the ship, I think, to my way of thinking, because I remember what it was like being on the ship. I've done this kind of mission many times, gone on to planets that are ready to transition from 3 to 5D, and it's what we do. We guide and we help and we assist, and sometimes you're on the planet, boots on the ground, and sometimes but not It's unusual to incarnate onto the planet to do this kind of a mission. Usually you're boots on the ground as in your ET form, but it's easier on the ship. And I fight with them about it. So I hear you. I can only tell you what they have told me when I'm like, why aren't you here for me? Why aren't you supporting me? Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? Or why aren't you explaining to me? Why aren't you telling? Whenever they say, you know all you need to know at this time, Sherry. And that's not, I know, I understand your frustration, but when I asked them to show themselves to my support group, my meditation group back when I was first awakening to my experiences, and I was on the verge of suicide. Actually, I had tried to kill myself and they prevented it because I was going crazy with, everything, my life unraveling. And I felt like I was pulling my children into this whole horrible thing. And to spare them, I decided I needed to just take myself out. So I tried to kill myself. So after that, Doc came to me and said, what can I do? What can we do to support you? What can we do to help you through this? And that was huge because they are they're very businesslike. My guys, they're not all like that. The Palladians are a little bit softer, but they're higher frequency. They don't look on our lives in this matrix quite the same way we do. They don't see our bodies as having, they don't understand us suffering and the stuff that we go through and the whole duality thing, because they don't live that, and they don't live in time. They don't live in a world where you have to make money and worry about being hungry and shelter and about all the stuff we have here. So they can seem a little cold and callous. They've got the higher stuff going on, the whole saving our souls and saving the planet kind of thing. So I have gone to them many times and asked for assistance yeah, I lost my train of thought. When they asked me, what can we do to help you? I came up with the idea that if they would show themselves to others, and I'm like, who can they show themselves to? Because I needed them to validate that I wasn't crazy, that other people could see them, and thereby I wasn't alone in this. And so I asked them to show themselves to my meditation group, and it's in the book. You probably read it, and they did. I didn't tell anybody, didn't prepare them. I didn't want to plant the idea in their heads, but they all came in to the next meeting, and there they were, all excited, sharing stories. Some saw a saucer, some saw lights in the sky, they all saw different things. But there was one guy who saw nothing. And when I said, what about him? And they showed me his head. It was just cut off. It's like his head had been cut off and put on a counter. And he was like this, and he was there, his head and his eyes were blinking. And there were these tiny little UFOs, saucers, floating like inches from the front of his eyes, in front of his face. And I was like, it hit me really funny. It was funny looking. But I got I got the message, and they said some are not ready. And I'm not saying that you're not ready, but that's the closest I can come to an answer, is that they either feel like you don't need it, that you're beyond that, and that they don't need to prove themselves to you anymore. But okay, another story. Here's another story, Mallory. When I first came out with my book, a lot of people who are believers in this got a hold of me and wanted to have lunch with me and talk to me about it, because I came out with this, and they were closet believers. And many of them said, I want to meet your guys. Will you have them come pick me up next time they come get you? Will you come pick me up? And I used to go back to my guys and tell them that. I'd say, can we go to so-and-so's house and pick them up? Can you fly over so-and-so? Can you show yourself to this person or that person? And they did it for a while. Out of respect for me, I like to think. But after a while, they stopped doing it. And finally, they got fed up with me. And I asked one time to Minnie, and they said, Sherry, do you think it's nothing more than a circus act that you can parade out in front of friends and family? We are not a circus act. We're not going to be doing that anymore for you. So he said, we have other things going on. We have lives. We have business with your planet. We are trying to help with the ascension of humanity. We can't be flying over somebody's house or going and picking them up just to prove that we exist. It just doesn't work that way. So that's another insight that might apply in this case. I really don't know. I don't know who your cosmic family is. I would say if you ask them to just show up in your dream, you meet them on the astral plane. Agree to meet with them on the astral plane, and you can project yourself out of your body when you go to sleep at night. go to the astral plane and, just set that intention and do it and meet them there. They'll meet you there. And you can maybe have that kind of an encounter and ask to remember it.
I mean, I've asked them at any time, anywhere, just tell me who they are. Like, because I'm at the point, I'm at such a low point or a simpleton point that I don't even know who they are. I just know that they're there.
Yeah.
And that's my, that's what's frustrating me so much, is to know of their existence, but not to have any more detail. And that's why your story brings me so much comfort. Because I know that at least someone is getting something, and just really appreciative. You would laugh if you saw my copy of your book, because it's been marked up to no end, like a textbook that someone frantically was studying. So, I thank you for sharing yourself with us today. Really appreciate it.
I'll just say one thing, Mallory. I'll just say to you to have faith. And I would try hard to not focus on them proving themselves to you. This could be a test that you've set up for yourself, and nobody's doing it to you. They are not doing this to you. This is all, you're the director, the writer, everything about your life is on you and coming from you and your higher self in conjunction. Your higher self is part of them. So look at it. I don't like tests. I don't like to even use that. I'm surprised I'm saying it, but I don't know what else to say to give you some comfort that, if you can look at it as something that you are challenging yourself with, to trust and just trust. So, okay.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you. Okay. Does that say Bubs?
Yeah, it's just an old nickname. Hi, Sherry.
Hello.
Thanks. I had a question, and you answered it many times, but I'd like to ask it again and possibly add to it. It says, though the powers that be don't want this reality being shared, can the average person, and I think of myself as one, hope to learn what they need to in order to spread this information without having to have an ET experience, or at least one that they remember? The whole thing, the discussion today, is how are we going to be included? And I wanted to lead this kind of question, but I just dreamed up something. Do you ever think of getting together on a meetup with fellow experiencers? I would love to see that, because I've met experiencers, and I'm not saying that I have had that much contact doing that, but I would love to see you and particular people that I've met through these meetups all get on the same, little box things and start going, back and forth. I think that would be invaluable for people like me who don't have an awful lot of experience but want to be included, and just to watch that kind of thing. I don't want to sell tickets to it or anything like that, but I think it'd be really a good thing. Have you ever done something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been at conferences, and I've gone to experiencer conferences. They're specifically for experiencers. And at Contact in the Desert, they always had a big room set up for, they were constantly having experiencers come in there, and we were asked as contactees and people who were out talking about it, they asked us to stop by, which I would do if I could. My problem, Bubs, is that I'd be working every day on this. I'd be talking you'd be so sick of seeing me. I'd be all over YouTube. I'd be everywhere. My problem is I was attacked the minute my book came out, and I continued to go to conferences as best I could until my health totally failed, and I was bedridden for almost 2 years and disappeared. And I have been fighting my way back from the brink of death, quite honestly. So I was disabled. Because I think they knew I was supposed to, have a lot more impact than I've been able to have, but it is what it is. And so I don't have the energy to do that. I just can't. Troy can tell you, I was very evasive about agreeing to do this. I have a whole bunch of interviews lined up, people waiting for me to commit to them, and I'm reluctant to do that. I just learned last night through a reading that I got from a very, very gifted medium. After 10 years, I finally know exactly what it is I'm dealing with in my body. So I'm hoping I can find the energy and the means, the financial means with which to get the treatment that I need. And I hope to, I don't know at this age, I said, I don't know if I should even do this battle because I'm 71 years old and I'll be 72 or 73 by the time I finish the treatment and what needs to be done. And I'll just come back and I'll come back just in time to die of old age or something, you know. But I'm hoping, you know, the med beds are out there. There's new technology out there, and I'm been told that if I, you know, that I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to do that. So I'll participate as much as I can, and I'm able to do it. But I tell you, yeah, I'm all for that because again, it's all about normalizing the whole thing and making it be not so sensational, and it should not be sensational. The fact that I talk to beings and have interactions and relationships with beings from another world, another dimension, actually, not even another world, that should not be weird at all. That should not be weird, you know. And I mean, we're not alone at all, ever. We're never alone. We maybe think we're sitting alone in our own home by ourselves. There's life all around us. And when your frequency gets to a certain level, you're going to be able to see it. I see my room over there every night. They come in, they have a meeting there every night between 6 and 7. It's a gathering point, you know, and it's just, we're never alone. So it needs to be brought out so that the awareness is there. The first part of your question was what again? What was the first part? I'm sorry, I focused on it. Now I can't remember.
Maybe I'll talk and you take a rest. There was no first part. It's just, though the powers that be don't want this reality, and obviously they don't, being shared, can the average person like myself hope to learn what they need to in order to spread this information without having to have an ET experience, or at least one that they remember? Because that's all important stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, can I awaken in this world, in this matrix right now, in spite of the control system being in place, and in spite of my not having higher dimensional beings contacting with me? Yeah, that's your question. Yeah, and the answer is yes. Absolutely, you can. I don't think that you need to have the ETs come in and supposedly nudge you. I mean, that's all they do is nudge you. They shock you awake. They shock you to the point where you look at your life and you can't live it on that day-to-day basis anymore because now you know too much. You've met these beings who live in a different world. And so you can have that experience by sharing in my experience, you know, reading my book or reading it, hearing other people, which is what you are drawn to do, and knowing and trusting that what they're saying resonates with you and is real. And so therefore you're sharing in that awakening experience by knowing that there's something other than just this existence we have in this matrix, this 3D world of duality that sometimes can get very closed in on us at times and feel very small and threatening. So yeah, you can awaken. And you know, I used to recommend the Course in Miracles, and we're kind of beyond that because the world is evolving past what the Course teaches. But you know, I have been feeling drawn to go back to it lately, so I'm going to go back and say Course in Miracles or the follow-up to it, which is what is that called? A Course on Love, I think it might be. But there's a follow-up book to it. But some kind of book that resonates very highly with you on a spiritual level, that helps you to have a practice of where you every day either meditate or awaken. I mean, I do Joe Dispenza meditations. Those are another great way to get your frequency up and to help you, because awakening is nothing more than getting your frequency up. It's one and the same thing. It's awareness. It's knowing that you're more than just, you know, your body and the life that you're living in this 3D world.
If you ever get up to Vancouver and you need a hand getting around, just give me a shout.
Okay.
And, give you a hand, you know, no matter. I would love to see you up here.
Thank you. I would love to come up there. Isn't that where the spiritual teacher that I love, and I can't think of his name? Eckhart
Tolle lives here. Yeah, I met him.
Yeah,
he gave me
Eckhart.
a hug once.
Yeah. I've gone to. There's a great one for you to. He's a good one to follow. You know, as far as his teachings. You know, if you feel like you need that. But you know, it's also time for us to go beyond having a teacher. It's time for us to stop being the seeker and being the truth of what we know ourselves to be. Because as long as you're seeking, you're keeping yourself in the role of being a student and needing others to show you the way. And none of us really need that anymore. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bubs and Sherry and Mallory. And we could go on to more of Brian and Monik soon. I just have a quick thing to say, mostly following up with Mallory about asking, like actively asking for some sort of contact or ship in the sky or some sort of evidence that they're there and that for something to happen. I've been there, and years ago, what I call my previous self before the walk-in, really awakened from irrefutable kind of in-your-face evidence happening all at once with other people too, like 6 other individuals involved. And then we investigated some things, and so that's when the basically ice around that previous reality broke, and so after that, it wasn't just one event. It was like after that there was a year or two of frequent contact, as far as I know, and even a number of sightings of orange and other ships and lights in the sky. And so that was exciting, kind of an exciting time in that previous chapter in my life. And so I know that they're there, and I know that they're involved with me, and I know some of who is involved by their names that that I've gotten to know them by, and their forms that they seem to take to present to me, and so I know a lot of that, and even other types beyond the main group I'm involved with. But after the walk-in, I have to say that all that more tangible, obvious stuff seemed to have basically dropped away. There was one time, a couple months after the walk-in event occurred, that I was outside of also a 7-Eleven, actually across the street from it, at night, and I just happened to look across the street toward the 7-Eleven for a bit, and it was at night, fairly late, and I noticed something bright in the sky that at first I thought was maybe Jupiter or Mars or a planet, but after I started looking at it, I could tell that it was none of those, and it was not a planet. It was probably not an asteroid even, or a comet or something else like that. It was not a satellite. It was not moving. It was just sitting there, but it was a fairly large, bright white light. And it was not an airplane either or something else, not a helicopter. I've known all of these things and seen all of them and know what they look like. And I got actually a short video and a picture of this that's on my Facebook page, The Real Star Children, that I isolated one frame from it and zoomed in as much as I could. And basically what it looks like is a big white shield kind of a looking thing, not just a sphere, but it had some shape and geometry to it. And so that was the last visible sighting I had of a ship after the walk-in. But after that, everything became kind of more intangible and more etheric and more subjective in my experience, and not so much things I've been seeing and other people have been seeing and experiencing and manifesting, but more subjective. So since the walk-in, I've noticed that, and I've just come to learn to trust more that they're out there, not only from my previous knowledge, but really from my from my just knowingness, and sometimes they come to talk to me in dreams and other telepathy things. Um, so yeah, the main thing I want to pass on related to what Mallory was sharing is I don't feel the need so much anymore to try to ask them to show up or anything or expect that, but just allow myself to be. And it's not, my life is not so much about the seeing and the being proven of things anymore, but just living my life and living my mission according to what I'm passionate about and the work that I've found myself doing. And um, yeah, just going with my life. And that's kind of my mission and purpose, not so much trying to get in touch, but just allowing them to do their work that I know that they're doing, and also just doing my work that I'm here to do. So that's my little bit of a message for now. So I'll mute myself and raise my hand, and then Brian and someone else, if they want to, can go ahead and comment, and then we should wrap this up pretty soon too. We're at almost 2 hours.
Yeah, can I ask a question for Sherry? I just want to ask about and comment on who attacked you. I know Suzy Hansen was sprayed in 2018 in Arizona at a UFO conference. And I did a video with Mitzi Bolivo, who was the fiance to Craig R. Lang, who was sprayed and murdered at the same conference. And I'm just wondering who attacked you. Suzy Hansen, her view was it was people who want to suppress knowledge about alien technology, because that was the theme of her talk. I'm wondering if this goes all the way up to the reptilians. I mean, there's a lot of witnesses within government and military of reptilian involvement. David Icke's book, The Biggest Secret, Chapter 2 is Don't Talk About the Reptilians in 1999, kind of popularized idea. So there's lots of evidence for this. And Linda Moulton Howe talks about how for millions of years, perhaps they've been here. What do you think of, do you think perhaps reptilians are trying to suppress humanity, or they're working through the global power structure, the globalists, to keep us down? Like, who's behind these attempts? Who's attacking you and the larger spectrum? Who's behind this?
I do absolutely believe that it is the reptilians that are the main force on the planet, who have been the controllers. They are pulling the strings, along with the little nasty, the evil grays, the certain facets of the Orion grays, I believe they are. And I never got into any of this very much until I was forced to look at it. And now that they're trying to do a film, do a series based on my book and my life, the question is, who did this? So for me, it is about suppression and rising awareness. When they came after me, they used poison. I was poisoned with mercury, and then I was poisoned with lead. And they used EMFs.
How did they poison you? Like, was it in your drink or food? How did they get it into you?
My mail was tampered with. I ordered supplements, and they were switched out, and I was taking them daily. And
wow.
When I landed in the hospital, I thought I was dying of heart failure, because I couldn't breathe and I was too weak to do anything. And I'd been getting weaker and weaker, and I was shocked. I went in the hospital, and I didn't want them to save me. I told the doctors when I was taken in there that I was suffering from heart failure and to just let me be. And I mean, that's the way I operate, but so arrogant kind of. But I told them what was going on, and they came back and they said, it's not your heart. And they ran more tests, and they finally discovered it was poison. And of course, the questions come: who wants to harm you? Who wants to hurt you? Or is it an accident? And so the first place we looked, of course, was my water, because I live in the country. But we eventually, I was very sick, and eventually we found it was in those pills we took all my supplements in and had them tested, and the place called us immediately. They had taken a quick look at it right away before doing intensive studies, what they called right away, and said, these pills are 99, I think they were 99% or 98. I know they were almost 100% pure lead. And I was taking several of them a day. So they did EMFs. The thing about the dark, which is very intriguing and interesting to me, is they tell you what they're doing to you. Like when they hit me with the directed energy weapon, we were driving up through Oklahoma on the turnpike, 85 miles an hour, when, they tell me, they say, this is for those interviews you did. Whack, zap you. And my guys came in I collapsed because it was like a bullet went right into my heart. And I just slumped over. Jim thought I had just fallen asleep, I guess, because I just slumped right over, and I heard my guys say, "We've got you." And they released, it feels like there's a hot wire that comes into your body. It came in through my shoulder, went across into my chest, into my right around, and it wrapped around my heart. And it felt like it was squeezing my heart, and I couldn't breathe. And it would have killed me. But my guys they're always watching, and they said, "We've got you." And I felt it release. But there's been a lot of that in my life. They hit me with EMFs here. They told me they did mind control. They implanted a what they called a Trojan horse when I asked them what it was, and they said it was a Trojan horse. And I said, I don't know what that is. What is that? And they said, look it up. And it takes over your thoughts and takes over the control of your mind. And it's scary stuff. All this was going on. It was terrifying. So I decided to take an exit in, I think it was 2014. Early 2014, I requested an exit because I think it was 2014, might have been 2015. And I went before the council and I was granted an exit. And they said I would leave. That was in early January, mid-January of whatever, either 2013 or 14 or 15. And I was relieved. They told me I was going to die of pancreatic cancer in September. That was too far off, but I took it. I was like, okay, I'll take it. And, but my guys got a hold of Anelia Benz, who is a spiritual teacher that I follow and think very highly of. And she reached out to me and she convinced me to come see her. I didn't want to, but Jim insisted that I go. He said, you can sit here and die slowly on the sofa, or you can sit on a plane and go out there and try to make it and see what she has to say. So I got on the plane and went out there, and she told me that my guys had reached out to her and said that they had lost contact with me. They couldn't reach me anymore because my frequency had been lowered and I had been tampered with, and that I was under attack. And I needed to know, because I was so innocent. I didn't know. I just thought I was getting sick and dying of something I didn't know. Although they were telling me, like the mind control stuff, I didn't relate that to me being sick. She told me that my guys had reached out to her and said, can you get a hold of Sherry? She's going to leave the planet and we need her to stay and finish her mission. Please try to get a hold of her and have her reconsider. They never told her to talk me out of it. They never told her to convince me otherwise. They just said, please let her know that we're here. We have not abandoned her. She believes we've abandoned her, and we have not. So that message was a good one to hear, and it helped me a lot. But I said, no, I'm leaving. And then Anelia said, I was also contacted by your soul family. And they reached out to me right at the same time and said, please get a hold of Sherry. She's under attack and she's going to leave the planet. She's going to give up on her mission, and she will so regret having done that. Please remind her of why she is there, and remind her that she is not a person who gives up on her missions, and she will be forever regretful that she did that. So she gave me that message, and that one resonated very strongly with me because I did have conscious memories of fighting to be the one to take on this mission, because it was a big one. It was one that was a major one because it involved eventually being made into a film. It was going to be a movie. Now it's going to be made a TV series. And so it was kind of a critical, kind of a bigger mission, and I fought for it. So that resonated with me. And then she said, Mother Earth. also reached out to me. And she's asked me to get a hold of you and to tell you that you are one of her biggest advocates, and she appreciates so much, and she needs you here. She needs you. She needs every soul to stay. Every soul helps, and she needs your assistance. Please don't abandon her. And that left me, weeping like a baby. So I changed my mind and I canceled my exit. It was interesting because sometime later, I don't know when, but within the next year, I think it was, I had a healer, a very powerful healer, work on me, and she went into my body to try to clean up some of the damage from what they had done. And when she got to my pancreas, she said, "Oh my good Lord, what has gone on here?" And I was like, "What?" And she said, "It just looks like it's been through a war." She said, "Your pancreas is just," and I remembered they had said I was going to have cancer in my pancreas. And she said, "It's fine," but she said, "It's a mess." She said, "But it's, I guess it's healthy," but it was funny. It was validation that, that all of this is not just a dream, a fantasy. So the attacks continued. Yes, when I was at Contact in the Desert, I got hit with a directed energy weapon while I was on the stage. I think it was when I was on the stage. I was up on the stage, but I wasn't presenting. It might have been right afterwards. Yeah, I think it was afterwards as I was coming down or something. I've been hit with a directed energy weapon a few times. I've had the Draco here at my house more than once. I've had military here. It's the ones who attacked me. I have come to the conclusion that it was the dark ones who consists of, at that time, what was the dark military. There's the positive, and then there's the dark aspect. And in the dark military are the ones who are involved in the mill labs, or were involved in the mill labs, of which I was targeted by them. And the nasty little grays and the reptilians. And there are good reptilians and bad reptilians. There are good grays and bad grays. There are good humans and bad humans. So that's what it consisted of. And that's who came after me. And but I live to tell it. Not many people do. Not many people, when they mean to kill you, they usually succeed, but it goes to show the protection I had and still have around me. So there we have it.
Yeah, Suzy Hansen's been protected, right? She was close to death after the spraying, but there was a doctor just happened to be in a small town in New Zealand at the right time and cured her, gave the right antibiotics and stuff. And so she says the Greys have been protecting her as well.
Yeah. There are good Greys definitely there. I mean, my guys, and it's hard to categorize them because, like, my guys, like he says, they're technically not Greys. It's not, they're not from that planet. What, I can't remember the name of it, but
they had a reticuli, I guess.
Yeah, they're not. So, but a lot of the higher dimensional beings need to have form if they're going to work on the planet, and so they need a body. So that's an easy container to put on. So, okay. Yeah, I'm running low on energy, but I would like to take one more. See, there's just one more anyway from Anne, so we can take her question.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hi, I didn't. Yeah, I can, Anik. I didn't think you were going to make it today.
Well, I wasn't supposed to. It's 1 o'clock or something like that here. I'm in Belgium now. So anyhow, I didn't want to ask a question. I just wanted to say thank you. And it's 3 thank you. One for you, naturally, because you came here and you fought to do that. One for Dara, to not let you fall, to fail you, not fail you. And one for Jim, because without Jim, I think he wouldn't be there either. So that was it.
Ma, I have to say that
That's
there's
the only
a lot
thing.
of background noise coming through. So if you could get closer to your mic or use your
I'm really the micro near to my mouth now. I can't do better than that. Wait. Hear better.
Okay.
You hear better.
She's in Belgium, so that might be that. Are you there?
More than likely on a cell phone.
Yes, I am. So, anyhow, do you hear me now or not?
We can hear you faintly.
Okay, so faintly, I say thank you to the three, and that will be it for today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for attending. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. There we have it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sherry. It's been a pleasure and honor to speak with you. We're very glad that you're here still, and hopefully we can get you on again sometime in the future if you wish, and talk more about perhaps your TV series and other developments that may happen. And please let us know as you wish to collaborate with us. Thank you also to Brian for asking about the poisoning subject, because that's important. It's not just one or a few people who were being attacked, but it is a widespread phenomena, or not phenomena, widespread issue within the experiencer field, especially those who are talking out about technology and serious, real things that can threaten the control structures. Thank you, everyone who participated.
Yeah, it was nice. You had a nice group show up. Okay, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun. It was great talking to everybody. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna sign off.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to everyone. Till next time.